Welcome to my channel, The Stoic Way. Have you ever wondered what it really takes to make a woman feel genuinely drawn to you, to spark that irresistible attraction where she can't stop thinking about you? Most men spend so much time trying to impress women with fancy gifts over the tube compliments or by bending over backward to please them. But here's the thing, none of that actually works. It might seem logical, but those approaches often push her further away instead of pulling her closer. The truth is, attraction isn't about being nice or agreeable. It's not about proving yourself or showing her how much effort you can put into winning her over women. Respond to something far deeper, something that speaks directly to their instincts. And the best part, you don't need to work harder or change who you are to create this connection. You just need to understand what really moves her emotionally. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 incredibly simple words that, when used correctly, can trigger her natural desire for you. These aren't magic tricks or gimmicks. They're rooted in what truly attracts women on a subconscious level. And once you see how effective these words are, you'll start to notice how effortlessly things shift in your interactions. So stick around, because by the end of this, you'll have a powerful new understanding of what it really takes to turn her on without trying too hard in a world where so many try to impress with noise, flattery gifts, or constant pursuit. What if the secret to real attraction was in doing less? Not less in effort, but less in overthinking, less in chasing approval. The truth is, attraction isn't about grand gestures or proving yourself. It's about the energy you carry, the way you communicate, and the emotions you evoke. Without saying too much here, we don't follow the crowd. We don't waste time with gimmicks or tricks. Instead, we focus on what works, principles grounded in confidence, clarity, and purpose. These principles are not only timeless, but incredibly simple to apply once you understand them. In this video, we uncover the 5 words that instantly ignite desire, words that create a connection so instinctive it bypasses logic, words that align with a mindset of strength, calm control, and unwavering presence. Stick with this, and you'll see how subtle shifts in communication can trigger her emotions in ways that feel natural and effortless. Let's break it all down before we get into the 5 words. It's important to understand why they work. Words on their own are just sounds, but what makes them powerful is the emotion they create and the response they trigger when it comes to attraction. There are a few key emotions that consistently spark desire, and they're not what most people think. First, there's challenge. Women are naturally drawn to the feeling of unpredictability. It's not about playing games but about showing that you're not easily won over, that you have your own standard. When there's a sense of it, keeps things exciting and engaging. So predictability, on the other hand, dulls attraction. People crave the feeling of working towards something that feels earned. Next is intimacy. This isn't about grand declarations of love or oversharing personal details. Intimacy is created in moments where a real connection is felt, where there's a shared energy that draws two people closer. It's in the way you hold her attention, the way you speak with presence, and the way you make her feel like she's the only person in the room. Then we have tension. This is one of the most overlooked yet powerful triggers of attraction. Tension isn't conflict. It's that spark that keeps things alive. It's the pause between words, the way your tone lingers just long enough to make her wonder what you'll say next. Tension is what creates anticipation and keeps her emotionally invested in the interaction. As you already know, conflict produces tension and keeps her emotionally invested in the interaction action. Finally, there's ambiguity. When everything is laid out too clearly, it leaves no room for curiosity. Ambiguity doesn't mean being unclear or distant. It means allowing just enough mystery to make her intrigued when she's not entirely sure what you're thinking or what you'll do next. Her mind starts to fill in the gaps, and that mental engagement pulls her closer. These emotions challenge intimacy, tension, and ambiguity aren't just random feelings. They deeply ingrained triggers that shape how we connect and feel attracted to others. And the 5 words I'm about to share are designed to evoke these exact emotions by using them intentionally. You'll tap into a side of attraction that feels instinct, almost automatic. So, let's get into it. The first word is no. It's simple, direct, and surprisingly powerful. But why does it work so effectively? Because it sends a message that you respect yourself, your time, and your boundaries. This one word shifts the dynamic in a way that's impossible to ignore. Most men are so afraid of losing a woman's interest that they agree to anything, no matter how unreasonable or inconvenient. And while they think this will make her like them more, it often has the opposite effect. When you say no, you communicate that you're not desperate for approval. You're not bending over backward to win her FA favor. Instead, you're showing that your time and energy have value, and that instantly makes you more attractive. Think about it. What's more compelling? Someone who's always available and eager to please, or someone who holds their ground and knows they're worth looking good, is not the ultimate goal. Let's look at some examples. Imagine you've just started talking to someone at a bar, and within minutes she says, "Buy me a drink." Most guys eager to impress would rush to the bartender without hesitation. But the man who calmly says no, "Let's talk first," is the one who stands out. Why? Because he's setting the tone. He's showing that he's not there to simply comply with demands, but to build a real connection on equal footing. Another scenario, a woman you're interested in repeatedly asks for favors. Maybe she wants you to help her move furniture or run errands. Saying yes every time might seem like the polite thing to do, but over time it can put you in the nice guy category. The guy she calls when she needs help, not the one she sees romantically. Instead, respond with something like, "I'd love to hang out, but I'm not free to do that right now." It's honest, respectful, and places value on your own time. The power of no isn't about being rude or dismissive. It's about balance. It's about showing that while you're interested, you're not willing to compromise your sense of self just to gain someone's attention. A good kind of tension that keeps her engaged, she'll respect you more because you respect yourself. And that respect is a cornerstone of attraction. By using the word no thoughtfully and with intention, you signal confidence and self-assurance qualities that are undeniably attractive. It's not about saying no for the sake of it. It's about knowing when to say it and standing firm when it matters. And that is why the simple word holds so much power. The second word is sexy. It's simple, but when used the right way, it can transform a conversation. Why does it work? Because it introduces an element of intimacy and sets a flirtatious tone without being overly aggressive. It's a word that signals interest, romantic interest, and it does so in a way that feels natural and authentic when used within attention. But here's the key: timing and delivery. If you walk up to someone and immediately say you're sexy, it can come across as insincere or even overwhelming. It's not about throwing the word around carelessly. It's about weaving it into the conversation in a way that feels genuine and playful, allowing it to enhance the interaction without dominating it. There is a lot of truth to this, and I hope you'll recognize it. Let's talk about how to use it. One of the most effective ways is to pair it with something unexpected. For example, instead of saying, "You have a sexy smile," which is fine but predictable, you might say, "You have a really sexy elbow." The unexpected pairing creates a moment of surprise and intrigue which immediately grabs attention. She'll pause, maybe laugh, and ask, "My elbow." And just like that, you've shifted the dynamic to something more fun and flirtatious. The same goes for other features that aren't traditionally associated with the word sexy. Maybe it's her overbite, her laugh, or even her handwriting. The point is to make her feel noticed in a unique way while keeping things light and playful. This isn't about being overly serious. It's about creating a connection that feels genuine and fun. Now let's talk about when not to use it. If a conversation is just beginning and no real rapport has been built, using the word sexy too early can feel forced or out of place. Timing matters. It works best once there's already a sense of comfort, trust, or light chemistry between you. That's when the word feels natural, like an extension of the energy you're already creating together. Also remember, less is more. You don't need to use this word often to make an impression. In fact, the more sparingly you use it, the more impact it carries when you do. Think of it as a spark added at the right moment. It grabs her attention, makes her feel uniquely seen without overwhelming the interaction. Sexy is one of those words that carries real weight when used with intention and restraint. Used thoughtfully, it enhances connection rather than overpowering it. It's a signal, a clear but playful indication of interest. It shifts the tone of the conversation, sets you apart from the rest, and invites her to engage with you on a different level. So, use it wisely and let it do the work of creating that spark. The third word is trouble. It's playful teasing and immediately creates a connection that feels unique and fun. Why does it work? Because it sets a tone of flirtation while adding a bit of intrigue. When you cause someone trouble, you're not just making a calm, creating a dynamic. You're framing her as someone who's exciting, unpredictable, and maybe just a little mischievous. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to feel like they have that edge? Using the word trouble works because it's not overly serious or heavy. It's lighthearted, yet it carries a certain weight in how it shifts the inter's action. When you say you're trouble, you're not just describing her. You're creating a story between the two of you. It's as if you're saying, I can already tell. You're the type of person who's going to shake things up and I like it. So, how do you use it? One of the best ways is to turn it into a nickname. Let's say you're having a fun conversation and she does something cheap or says something witty. That's the perfect moment to say, you're trouble, aren't you? Add a playful smirk, and you've instantly created a more intimate vibe from that point on. You can call her trouble as a way of keeping the energy light and fun. It becomes your inside joke, a word that only the two of you share in that context. Another way to use it is in storytelling. For instance, let's say she tells you about something adventurous or spot in as she did in the past. That's your moment to respond with, I knew you were trouble. The moment I saw you, it frames her actions in a way that feels playful, but also slightly flirtatious. You're not judging her. You're admiring her energy and framing her as someone who keeps life and interesting. And here's the beauty of it. The word trouble works because it hints at attraction without directly saying it. It's not overly complimentary, but it still makes her feel noticed and appreciated in a unique way. She'll start to wonder what you mean by it, and that curiosity keeps her engaged. It also creates a you and me dynamic, as if you're the only one who sees this side of her, the mischievous, exciting side. Now, a word of caution. Use it with the right tone. Trouble isn't meant to be said seriously or in a way that feels like an accusation. It's meant to be light, playful, and full of positive energy. Think of it as a way to keep the conversation flowing, to add a bit of spice to your dynamic, and to show her that you see her as someone who stands out when used effectively. Trouble becomes more than just a word. It's a signal of playful attraction, a way to create intimacy, and a way to keep the energy between you alive and engaging. So, the next time you're talking to someone who sparks your interest, don't be afraid to throw it in. You might just find that this one word opens the door to a whole new level of connection. The fourth word is little. It's an innocent-sounding word. When used correctly, this word carries real power. Why does it work? Because it taps into something fundamental in human dynamics, the natural interplay between masculine and feminine energy. When you use the word little in the right context, you're not simply describing her. You're acknowledging her femininity in a way that feels natural, personal, and intimate. Here's the truth. Many women are drawn to men who project strength and security, not because women are weak, but because that strength complements their feminine energy. When you call her little with warmth and intention, you subtly reinforce that contrast. It's not about diminishing her, it's about creating a moment where she feels seen, protected, and appreciated for what makes her uniquely feminine. So how do you use it effectively? Timing is everything. Imagine she's standing next to you and removes her heels, suddenly making the difference in height noticeable. That's a natural moment to say, you're so little. It's a simple phrase, but it creates instant closeness. It feels personal, like you're noticing something meaningful in that shared moment. You can also pair it with a light, playful action. If she's reaching for something on a high shelf, you might say with a smile, you're so little. Do you want me to get that for you? This doesn't just highlight her femininity. It also allows you to step naturally into a supportive, confident role. Not to show off, but to deepen the connection. Another effective way to use little is through gentle teasing. If she talks about being very strong or mentions her competitive side, you might respond playfully. You're too little for that, making sure your tone is warm and light, so she knows it's affectionate, not dismissive. Tone matters as much as timing. The word little should never sound condescending or belittling. It should feel warm, almost like an inside observation shared between the two of you. Something affectionate, something personal. The goal isn't to reduce her, it's to enhance the dynamic you share. What makes little so powerful is that it validates her femininity in a world where that quality isn't always celebrated. It reminds her that you see her not just for how she looks, but for the energy she brings into the interaction. And that kind of recognition creates genuine connection. And when a woman feels both seen and valued, that's when the connection deepens. Use thoughtfully. This one word can open the door to a more intimate and engaging dynamic. It's not flashy, it's not over the tube, but it's incredibly effective. So, the next time you're with someone who catches your eye, don't hesitate to use it. You might be surprised at how quickly it changes the energy between you. The fifth word is friend. And while it might seem counterintuitive, this one word can be incredibly effective when used correctly. Why? Because it introduces ambiguity into the interaction. And ambiguity is one of the most powerful tools for creating attraction. When someone isn't quite sure where they stand with you, it naturally keeps them engaged. Their mind starts working overtime to figure you out, and that mental engagement builds a stronger connection. Think about it. Most people expect conversations to follow a predictable pattern. If you're showing interest in someone, they assume every word and action will align with that intention. But when you casually drop the word friend into the conversation nation, you disrupt that predictability. It makes her pour wonder and question what you're really thinking. That moment of uncertainty is what makes this word so effective. Let's talk about how to use it. One of the best ways is to throw it in playfully. During a light ed moment, for example, you might say, "You're such a cool friend. I should introduce you to someone." It's expected and creates a sense of intrigue. She'll likely respond with something like, "Friend, is that what we are?" And just like that, you've sparked a conversation where she's the one trying to define the relationship. Another way to use it is to mix your signals deliberately. Let's say the vibe between you is already flirtatious, and then you casually say, "Wait, are we friends or something more? You're confusing me." This works because it shifts the dynamic. Instead of you chasing her, it subtly implies that she's the one giving mixed signals, which makes her invest more in the interaction, and that makes her a better source of information. The beauty of the word friend is that it's light enough to feel like a rejection, yet intriguing enough to make her think it creates a kind of playful tension. She knows you're interested, but now she's wondering just how interested you are. That curiosity is powerful because it makes her more engaged in figuring out where things stand. Now, the tone is everything. When using this word, it has to come across as playful, not dismissive. If you say it too seriously, it might actually come off as you're trying to push her away. But when said with a smile or a bit of humor, it opens the door for her to lean in and clarify the dynamic herself. What makes friends so impactful is that it flips the script. Instead of you trying to define the relationship, you'll put the ball in her court, you're inviting her to challenge the label to push back. And in doing so, you're creating an interaction that feels alive and engaging. It's a small word, but it carries a lot of weight in the way it shifts the energy between you. So, the next time you're in a conversation that feels like it's going well, try throwing in the word friend. Whether you use it to tease, to create a bit of mystery, or to mix signals, it's a powerful way to keep her intrigued and invested. And you'll find that with just a little playfulness, this word can transform the way she sees you now that we've gone through each of these 5 words. Let's take a moment to really understand why they work and how they can transform your interactions. These aren't just random words. They're tools that tap into emotions at the very heart of attraction. When you use them intentionally, they create feelings of challenge, intimacy, tension, and even ambiguity. And these emotions, they're not just nice to have. They're what keep a connection alive, exciting, and unforgettable. Think about it. The word No signals confidence and sets boundaries. Something that immediately stands out in a world where most people are too eager to please sexy shifts. The tone creating a spark of intimacy and flirtation that draws her closer. Trouble adds a playful dynamic, turning a simple conversation into something more memorable. Little emphasize is the natural balance between masculine and feminine energy, building a sense of closeness and protection. And finally, friend introduces just enough ambiguity to keep her intrigued, wondering where she stands with you. Each of these words is like a key unlocking a different aspect of attraction that works on a deeper, almost instinctual level. But here's the thing, understanding these concepts isn't enough on its own. You have to practice them. Start small. Try these words into your next conversation and see how it feels. Pay attention to how she reacts, how the energy shifts, and how it changes the flow of the interaction. You don't need to get it perfect right away. The more you use them, the more natural it will become. This isn't about memorizing lines or trying to impress anyone. It's about learning to communicate in a way that's authentic, confident, and impactful. It's about creating moments that feel effortless but carry weight. The more you experiment with these words, the more you'll notice how they subtly change the dynamic over time. You won't even have to think about it. It'll just be part of how you interact. And let's not forget, this is about more than just words. It's about the energy you bring into the conversation. The way you say things matters just as much as what you say. So, take your time, practice with intention, and watch how these simple tools open the door to deeper, more meaningful connections. If you're willing to put this into practice, you'll be amazed at the difference it makes. These words aren't magic. They're grounded in principles that work because they resonate with something fundamental in human nature. So go ahead, start experimenting, start seeing how powerful your communication can be when you use the right words in the right way at the right time. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments which of these words you're most curious to try out. Or if you've already had experiences where one of them worked for you, share your stories. Your input could inspire someone else watching this. Thank you. If you found like this video, please subscribe my channel, The Stoic Way, and press the bell icon. Thank you.